It's time to get into our meta and unlocks of the season of February 2025. Let's switch things up here, Evan. You okay with going first here?
Yeah. Let's see. So I think the first one I got was the Ben Harvey cable. Oh, by the way, I did break 20,000 on my collector level. Not sure.
Did you really?
Yeah, and which means that I play a lot of Snap.
A lot.
But yeah, I got the Ben Harvey cable, which I'm trying to think what that looks like. It's not the one where he has longer hair, but it's like a slightly different cable, maybe a little bit more realistic. That's cable with a scarf, basically.
Okay.
Looks pretty cool. It's still not going to replace my Greg Capullo really big gun cable.
He definitely has a scarf. It's blowing in the wind.
Then I got a Scarlet Spider where the eyes are really huge. It's kind of computer rendered.
Oh, yeah.
Vignali is the artist's last name. Let's see.
That's a cool rendition of the big eyes are pretty freaky.
I got the Joaquin Torres Falcon, and then against my better judgment, I went back in to get that John Romita Jr. Macari. I loved the version of Macari in the movie. Very, very cool. Speedster using sign language. Didn't have a problem with them, changing her around, but that classic Macari costume was from one of the foundational comics of my youth, and having John Romita Jr. draw it, I had to get that one. As cool as I think the movie Macari was, had to get that one. And then with the character mastery that we'll talk about, I gave him some speed lines. Yeah, that's the one.
Nice.
Got a Pixel Sentry.
Okay, I've got that one. That's nice.
Pulled the trigger on Sam Wilson, Captain America. Did that a little late. Got 3099 Dracula, which looks like regular armored Dracula with ponytail. I prefer classic Universal Studios monster Dracula. Got the Kale and Goo Null, which I think a lot of people got. I think that was one of those group goal things where he's in the wrestling ring, Venom.
Okay.
Standing over him. Start X-23, where she's like, and the Granov War Machine. Then I got from the season pass the He-You Captain America. Got a Venomized Typhoid Mary. I think I just got that as a random prize. That looks pretty cool. A Pixel Kingpin. Again, hard to knock off Hawaiian shirt vacation variant Kingpin.
Right.
A Max Grecki Thor. Then I tried for Thunderbolt Ross and got Blink first, but then I got Thunderbolt as well.
I'll tell you, Blink is pretty useful. I've seen her a lot in some of the recent opponents I've been facing. They will leave her out there. I remember when she drops, I'm like, oh crap, what's going to happen now? They're bringing out a higher cost card, if I remember correctly, and replacing one.
Yeah.
Deck with it. So I like what she was able to do. I got her pretty late too. I still haven't had a chance to really use her.
I haven't used her a bunch. She's another one that I think, we were talking about Eson earlier. She's another one that might be able to get Eson out a little earlier. But I haven't gotten to try her a lot yet. So you got the Max Grecki Killmonger, got the Shh variant of Black Bolt, which is pretty funny.
Oh, nice.
The Ryan Brown Abomination, where he's actually punching the Hulk. The Falcon, got a Venomized Scorpion. I think I bought that with tokens just to get toward my 2,000. I bought that with gold to get the 2,000 tokens or get up toward there. That didn't put me over the top.
Oh, okay.
Got a Pixel Orca.
Yeah, that's the frightening one because you can see his face like in the mouth. It's pretty freaky.
Yeah. Got Red Wing. Got your Ron Lim, Adam Warlock.
Yes.
You can't displace the Jim Starlin cover. Adam Warlock for.
Yeah,
that's one we need to talk about in the meta because Adam Warlock's back. Now you can do something with all those.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if he's back, considering I'm not sure he was ever there. I did go ahead and use tokens to get Sasquatch. Haven't used her a whole lot yet, but threw in a deck with Bishop and Hitmonkey that I tried to translate over into regular use after having some success with it in high voltage last time. Got a Dan Hip Gore.
Oh, I've seen this one.
Yeah, not the biggest Gore fan, so give me the Dan Hip interpretation.
Mm.
I like it. Got Max Grecki, Ironheart, and Iceman.
Okay.
Yellow Suit, Daredevil variant.
Oh, nice.
Then the TNU Sam Wilson Captain America that came with the season pass. Took 2 shots at Diamondback, didn't get her, but got the Lionel U Nimrod and the Creative House Pocket Phoenix Force variant.
Creative House Pocket.
Yes. And then, like I said, I had a good run in Sanctum. Got Uncle Ben, Laufey, and Gorgon with the 3099 Craven thrown in.
Nice. Very nice. Man, how many new cards did you get?
Let's see. I guess the Macari shouldn't count. Let's see. Just new cards total, not variants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Diamondback was the only one I missed out on of the new cards this season.
That's crazy. Well, we're going to talk about my
Pittance.
That's right. Pittance. My pittance amount of cards that I got here. I mean, like I said, I think this past month I didn't play very much.
Mm-hmm.
Did not get the season pass. A lot of the cards that were being offered, I really wasn't explicitly interested in. This first round with Joaquin Torres, I assume that Namora and Makari were in there as well on that first.
Yeah, no, I know Makari was.
So, okay, to start out, I got a Jason Kang stature, which is, she looks, she's gigantic, has the Ant-Man mask on, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the movie one.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Like I said, Joaquin Torres, Namora, Makari, those three are new cards for me. I got a Kale New Null, a Pandart X23, a Classic Collector.
I like that one.
A Dan Hip Goose, a Chibi Armor, a Pixel Atuma, Max Grecki Super Mario Brothers variants, Thanos. Looks like a Goomba from the Super Mario movies from, I think, 89 or something.
Now I'm hearing Everybody Walk the Dinosaur playing in my head.
That's good stuff.
Don't forget, the real star of the soundtrack was Almost Unreal, the love theme by Roxette. Oh, yeah.
It's been a while since I can't believe you know what's on that soundtrack.
I just know it because it's a Roxette song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Roxette. Everybody Walk the Dinosaur. You kind of seared into my brain, but I didn't remember it until I got the Roxette Greatest Hits album, Don't Bore Us, Get to the Chorus. And it notes that Almost Unreal was on the Super Mario Brothers soundtrack.
All right, so 3099 Killmonger right after the Key Thanos. And then we got 3 Dan Hips, Dan Hip Cyclops, Dan Hip Venom, and Dan Hip Zabu.
Nice.
And then we got this Adi Granov War Machine. Looks really cool. It almost looks like it's already inked out. You said you got that one?
Yeah, you did.
That's pretty cool looking. A Dan Hip Heimdall, and then a Pixel Venom.
Nice.
So far, I've gotten 2 Venoms, but that allowed me to get the Mealtime Venom variant from the Venom in My Veins album. I got a Mealtime Venom variant, which he's just got a big bib with a heart on it, if I remember right. And he's got a fork and knife in his hand. And then a Justina Martyr.
Okay.
A Chibi Super Scroll. And then I spent 1,200 tokens to round out my 8th Venom and close the album. I got a Pandart Venom. And I completed the Venom in My Veins album to unlock card reacts.
Okay.
That was pretty neat. And then I started yesterday, and I grabbed a couple, put them on here because my collector level would not have been representative and my spotlight keys would not have been representative. But I got James Ryman, Beta Ray Bill, and I got Eson.
Just like me.
Yeah. So my current collector level 16,654 as of March 5th, a few minutes ago, as a matter of fact, with 7 spotlight keys left. I think by the next podcast, I will have 0 spotlight keys. I will be spinning them this season. And I have
2 right now. Usually I get about 2 a week.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, there you go. There's our unlocks. Let's talk about the meta. Doing things backwards tonight. That's okay. We talked about it a little bit already in our discussions. Let's talk about the Sanctum Showdown. What were your impressions of it?
Well, I've liked it pretty well. I get some of the repetitive nature complaints. I basically have one deck that I use, and it's pretty Guardians heavy. It was fun to experiment with. I don't understand why they pulled some of them. I guess Scream and Cannonball, both of whom I was using. I see how they give you an advantage, but I still don't know how. I have Vision in mind, move him all around. I have Werewolf by Night jumping all over the place, so I'm not quite sure why they're okay, but Cannonball isn't, or Polaris is in there. It's a neat change. You use the Guardians a lot more in this one, and so it was fun to figure out a strategy with it, but then there weren't a whole lot of strategies to figure out. Once everybody kind of found Guardians and movement, that's kind of what it is. I'll try something out every once in a while. I use my Body Slide by No Fun mill deck occasionally. It works. Sometimes it doesn't really give me much of an advantage. Sometimes I'll just throw something else in there for the heck of it. I get people kind of getting tired of it. Now that I got those 3 cards, I would like to get enough by the end of the week to get that random Series 4 or Series 5 card.
That's like 2,500 or something.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'll quite make that, and I didn't. I kind of took a break and tried and failed to get to Infinite as the season was winding down. But I liked it overall. I don't know that we need 2 weeks of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I prefer it to the diner, but not to high voltage.
Right. I started out and I was like, okay, this is going to be kind of fun. It'll be interesting to try. You're using a completely different strategy when you're playing this game. I mean, you're still trying to win the lane, but you're not trying to win the game as far as what you're normally trying to do by the 6th turn. That's not happening here. What you're doing is you are just trying to win that 4-point lane. Usually that's the big thing. You're trying to get that 4-point lane right off the bat and then get a head start and then try to keep that advantage as you go through, because that 4 points changes lane to lane. So I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. And then what you start to realize about 3 games in is that the game is really built for the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, which I don't know if they actually knew that was going to be a thing. Guardians of the, the Guardians.
I figured it out pretty quick, so I think everybody else did.
Yeah, I would hope that the developers understood that that's what's going to happen here. Is you're going to have a lot of people using cards that give you a bonus when your opponent plays on that same lane at the same time. So that meant that kind of like, for me, I was like, geez, okay, well, now I know what decks I'm going to be facing. And really, that's a dominant strategy for the other player. What is the incentive to not do that? So I was trying to figure out ways to like, okay, let's do Cosmo.
Yeah.
But Cosmo's, I've got to be winning by turn 3 in order for Cosmo to take effect before the Guardians of the Galaxy character reveals on the other side. So it was tough. Then I developed a alternative strategy to it, which was to avoid those lanes. I did have a deck that had the Shadow King in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'll get him back down to something. And I could not find anything that kept me interested. And a lot of that could be because I was losing a lot, but you only got 12, I don't know when they reset. I assume they reset every time, like every 6 to 8 hours.
I forget what the timing is on there. I've only run out a couple times and then I was just like, I'll do something else. It wasn't I got to get back in there.
Right. Yeah, that was not like Deadpool's Diner bad, where you're out immediately. This was a situation where you've got 12 games you can play. You're only going to lose a scroll if you lose. If you win, great. You get that scroll back. You can continue to play. What bothered me was the slow pace at which you get the Sanctum tokens or whatever they were called. Or they called scrolls. I can't remember.
Yeah, the scrolls were what I forget what the other things are called.
Well, you get those, and the maximum that you could get in a game is probably a little over 15. Like I was pulling 17, 18 because I was beating a guy pretty handily.
I snagged 21 at one point, but that wasn't out.
21? Yeah. Okay. So at that point, you're just like, okay, now.
Charms. They're called charms.
Charms. That's right. The first level, I'm pretty sure, is like 200, 250 or something around there. Yeah. Doesn't the amount go up each level that you increase?
Now, when you gain a level, you get a dump of them. That's what helped me get those cards. You get a pretty large amount once you hit a new level.
Right. And I think it was like 500 was the first one that I saw, maybe even up to the second level. Same there,
something
too.
Like that, yeah.
It helped. But
I didn't do a lot of apparently.
When you're looking to get one of the new cards like Lawfay or Uncle Ben, you couldn't pick that card. You had to go into a portal and you were given a random card, and that was like $1,250 or $1,200. I was like, man, I'm going to have to grind and grind and grind and grind and grind. And the game was already annoying me. I was like, I can't find a way to make this interesting and make this fun. I couldn't do it. So I played up till I got enough to get a new emote. I've never got a new emote aside from the Deadpool one. I got the Jeff emote where he's sucking on the milkshake or whatever he's drinking. And I was like, okay, I'll take that. And then I think I got one other thing maybe, and that was it. I was just like, I haven't played it. We got another week or so. I might get back into it and try, but you talk about the banned cards. Interesting because they decided to ban some cards like 1 or 2 days after it started because they realized of how much of an advantage it gave them. I guess they didn't ban the Guardians of the Galaxy cards because there are somewhat a way of countering those.
Yeah.
You can just avoid them altogether. I wasn't too thrilled with Sanctum Showdown. High voltage is definitely where it's at. That game mode is so much fun compared to others. It just blows it out of the water in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But all right. Well, there's my curmudgeon on on Sanctum Showdown. All right, you mentioned Adam Warlock. I used to use Adam Warlock quite a bit before he got put up to the 5 cost. You have to be winning here in order to draw an extra card. Then maybe at the midpoint of the season, they were like, okay, guys, here's a new update. And they drop him down to a 2 cost, 0 power. If you're winning the lane, you draw a card. And if you're not winning the lane, he gains a point.
Yeah, and that includes if you're tied.
Right. And he went from a very useless card. I can't remember his original ability beforehand. I remember you could get him out there
0 and he drew if you were winning. I think that was it.
All right. They put him up to a 5/5. Everybody hated it. Nobody played Adam Warlock at that point. He wasn't going anywhere. Then they drop him down to his new stat line, his new ability, and he is extremely useful. I use him a lot. I have a deck right now that I've got him in, and you want him out there, that deck to put together. And really, you can only play 2 cards in 2 lanes, and then you want the 3rd lane to be filled up with probably Wong, Namora, and hopefully get Odin. But if one of those cards that you lay on a lane is Adam Warlock, the chances of you drawing that card become so much greater. It's that one card that you need. I need that Odin to put things over the top. There'd be so many times where he would be in the lane and he would draw Namora, and Namora was the one card that I needed in order to win this game. And I would snap because he helped me get that. So I really think the way they reworked Adam Warlock was fantastic. Did you have any additional commentary for Adam Warlock?
No, I started putting him in a lot more decks. I think I sent you one where he actually won me a game. So, I think it's a lot of fun. It makes him more useful. It doesn't make him overpowered, but just, I used him a lot back in the early days because I like the idea of drawing the card, but eventually he just got phased out because there were so many better options. Now he's an option worth considering in a lot of different.
Right. Now, as far as decks that I've been playing or I played over the season, after I got Namora, I was like, I'm going to try and build something around her and make it work. I mentioned having her or having Adam Warlock in that deck. The Namora deck was a lot of fun to play. The problem is that the win rate was, I don't know. Once I got up there, it was like, I'm not doing so hot sometimes. I wasn't doing the greatest. It would tend to go back and forth. I wasn't getting really anywhere, but still it was very fun to play. I see you dropped your islands in the stream.
Yeah, that's my Namora deck where I got a lot of cards you can combine and build up so that you can still play in those other lanes.
I like that.
Because we're just trying to get cards that can build up. I probably should have Wong in there, but I like giving myself a bunch of different options.
Yeah, with the way I've got mine set up, I don't have much options. It's like, okay, I got to pick one card and Agony's in there. So that's okay. But I got to pick one card, get it into that lane, and then just start pumping up the power with Namora. I noticed that I'm not running into Cosmo very much anymore. And I think we're at a point in this game where there's so many cards and so many deck possibilities. You're not going to run into that same situation all the time. There's still the old destroy decks for good or for bad, but it seems like there's a lot
shows up at the worst possible moment.
Right. If I had that happen. I feel like we're getting to a point in this game where there's so many options. It's making the variance of the decks so much greater that you have a higher likelihood of running a specific archetype and not running into that very same anti-archetype. Go ahead, man. What else? Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I think I talked a little earlier. I went back to a lot of Cap and Doom 2099 and Cap Doom. And then my Bullseye, Dakin, Arnim Zola combo. Those are the ones that helped me get back up to 90. Tried some Thor decks. Still tried my Pixie Erisham deck, and like I said, added Eson to that. Tried a few other things, but I did manage to get back to 90. Just didn't have a whole lot of sustained success with anything. I do enjoy the Cap and Doom deck, but sometimes wanted to mix it up a little, but didn't really have anything else that took off.
How's the alliances going, by the way? I checked in 1 week, and I remember I wasn't doing alliances as much as I used to, and then 1 week I was like, you know what? I'm tearing into this, and I ended up winning that week. Seems like we got a couple additions to our alliance who are really going to town.
Yeah, friend of a friend joined up and was doing pretty well. The one guy has always been there. He just changes his username time to time.
Okay.
But it's still fun. If anybody listening is interested, it's the Snap Material Alliance. SSM is the abbreviation. It's casual. Just do what you can. Nobody's going to be like, hey, you need to produce more, get some extra prizes. I think it's fun on there. I keep forgetting to check because it'll post every time somebody wins an 8-cuber. And I keep meaning to look in on that, but I think it's still a pretty fun thing.
Yeah, I think it adds a little bit of an element to the gameplay that's good because it gives you a goal and a chance to try some other decks out. All right. Well, there it is. That is our discussion on the meta and unlocks. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.